Start your day with God when you wake up in the morning. You're standing at the starting line of a brand new game. Every sunrise is tip-off, and how you start your day determines how you finish it. If you step onto that court unfocused, unprepared, and without direction, you've already lost before the whistle blows. But when you start your day with God, you've got the greatest coach, the ultimate playbook, and the strength to face anything that comes your way. Life is full of pressure, expectations, and battles that test your patience. There will be days when you feel like you're down by 20 points. The crowd is against you, and the clock is running out. But if your foundation is built on faith, if the first thing you do each morning is connect with God, you'll find power you never knew you had. Greatness isn't just about talent or hard work. It's about discipline. It's about faith. It's about starting strong. When you dedicate the first minutes of your day to God, you align your spirit, your mindset, and your focus. You're not just preparing to play, you're preparing to win. The first move determines the game when the day begins. It's like stepping onto the court with the ball in your hands. That first move matters. If you hesitate, you lose momentum. If you attack with purpose, you set the tone. Life works the same way. The first thoughts you choose, the first actions you take, they create momentum that carries into everything else. When you start your day with God, you've already made the strongest move possible. You've declared your focus, you've set your direction, and you've built your foundation before the challenges arrive. Most people roll out of bed distracted. They check their phone, their notifications, their worries. That's like starting the game with a turnover. You're already playing catch up. But when you begin with God, you take possession with power. You're already in control. You're not chasing. You're dictating. The first move is confidence, it's discipline, it's focus, and that only comes when you begin by aligning yourself with something greater than yourself. Each morning is a new opportunity, a new tip-off, a new chance to dominate, but how you begin determines how you end. The difference between winners and losers is not talent, it's preparation. Winners don't gamble with the start of the day. They lock in, they prepare, they move with intention. When you wake up, the clock starts ticking. The question is, will you waste the first possession or will you take control of it? Your first move decides the pace. If you begin weak, everything feels like a fight. If you begin strong, everything flows with momentum. God gives you that strength at the start. That clarity, that vision, that fire, it comes when you dedicate those first moments to Him. So don't waste the opening play. Don't stumble out of the gate. Start with the one who gives you vision and watch how the game unfolds in your favor. Every day is a game, and every game begins with a move. Make yours count. Mindset is built in the morning. Your mind is the arena where every battle is won or lost. And the tone of your mindset is shaped the moment you wake up. If the first thing you do is fill your mind with negativity, stress, and distraction, you've already set yourself on the path to defeat. But if the first thing you do is focus on God, on gratitude, on strength, on clarity, you've already secured an advantage before the day has even begun. A sharp mindset doesn't appear out of nowhere. It's built, it's trained, it's developed through routine, through discipline, through what you feed it every single morning. Your morning thoughts are seeds. They grow into your actions, your choices, and your outcomes. If you plant worry, you'll live in fear. If you plant gratitude, you'll live with strength. The world is going to test your focus, test your emotions, test your resilience. That's why you can't afford to begin the day without anchoring your mind in something unshakable. God gives you that anchor, His presence, His word, His strength. These are the tools that sharpen your mind for the battles ahead. Every champion has one thing in common. They win the mental game first, and that begins in the morning. When you set your thoughts on the right things, you control the day. When you don't, the day controls you. There is no neutral start. You're either feeding your strength or feeding your weakness. That's why mornings matter. That's why the first hour is priceless. Because what you choose to think about then will echo through every moment afterward. Start your day by locking your mindset with God. Train your thoughts like a warrior, and watch how your confidence, focus, and energy never waver. Strong mornings create strong lives. Faith is your fuel. Every player needs energy. Every fighter needs endurance, and every person needs fuel to survive the grind of life. But not all fuel lasts. Some people run on ego, some run on pride, some run on fear. All of that burns out. Faith, though, faith is the only fuel that never runs dry. And when you start your day with God, you're filling up on the one source of strength that cannot be shaken. Faith keeps you standing when the odds say you should fall. Faith keeps you moving when your body says stop. Faith keeps you believing when your circumstances scream doubt. The world is heavy, the schedule is demanding, the pressure is relentless. That's why you can't just rely on yourself. You'll burn out. You need something deeper. You need a source beyond human limits. That's where God comes in. When you start your day with Him, you're not relying on your own energy anymore. You're drawing from a well that never runs dry. Faith isn't just belief, it's power. It's momentum. It's the push that gets you through the wall, and that power doesn't come later. It comes when you begin with it. That's why the morning matters. That's why faith must be your first step. When you walk out the door filled with faith, the world can't knock you down. It can push you, it can test you, it can pressure you, but it can't break you, because faith doesn't break. Faith bends, faith stretches, faith endures. And every single morning when you start with God, you're filling your spirit with that unbreakable strength. Faith is the fuel, and without it, you're running on empty. Adversity is the opponent every single day. Adversity shows up like a defender standing in your way. It doesn't care about your plans, your goals, or your dreams. It's there to test you, to pressure you, to see if you'll fold. Some days adversity comes as failure. Other days it comes as doubt. Sometimes it comes as people telling you that you're not enough. And sometimes it shows up as circumstances completely outside of your control. That's the opponent, and you can't avoid it. You can't hide from it. You can't beg for it to go easy on you. The only thing you can do is face it head on. But here's the truth. You can't beat adversity alone. You need a strength greater than yourself. When you start your day with God, you step onto the court already armed with confidence. You know the pressure is coming, but you also know you're equipped to handle it. Adversity tries to steal your energy, but God restores it. Adversity tries to break your spirit, but God strengthens it. Adversity tries to blind your vision, but God sharpens it. Every opponent has weaknesses. And when you start with God, you're able to see those weaknesses clearly. You're not panicking. You're strategizing. You're not overwhelmed. You're prepared. The mistake people make is trying to fight adversity with their own limited strength. That's why they quit. That's why they fall apart. They tried to face the storm without shelter. But when you start with God, you've already secured the shelter. You've already built the shield. You've already tapped into the source that can't be shaken. Adversity is tough, but toughness isn't about avoiding challenges. Toughness is about enduring them, pushing through them, and still standing when it's over. Every single challenge is an opportunity to rise higher. And when your morning starts with God, You're prepared to turn adversity into advancement. That's the difference. Some people see adversity as an end, but when you're rooted in faith, adversity becomes the beginning of something greater. The opponent doesn't get to define you. The pressure doesn't get to decide who you are. With God as your foundation, you define yourself. And every morning you start with Him, you step onto the court already one step ahead of adversity. Consistency builds legacy. One great game doesn't make you a champion. One highlight doesn't build a career. And one strong morning doesn't build a life of greatness. Legacy is built through consistency, through showing up every single day with discipline, focus, and purpose. Starting your day with God isn't a one-time habit. It's a commitment. It's a lifestyle. It's the difference between being a one-hit wonder and becoming unforgettable. Most people crave results but hate the routine. They want the trophy without the training. They want the rewards without the responsibility. But real greatness doesn't work that way. Greatness is built on repetition, on habit, on discipline. It's built in the quiet moments that nobody sees. When you start your day with God every morning, you're stacking wins, one on top of another. Brick by brick, day by day, you're building something unshakable. It's not about perfection. It's about consistency. Even on the days you don't feel like it, even on the mornings when you're tired, even when life feels heavy, you show up. That's what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Not talent, not luck. Consistency. Legacy doesn't come from what you do once in a while. It comes from what you do every single day, whether you feel like it or not. And starting with God is the ultimate act of consistency. Because it means every day, no matter what, you've chosen discipline over distraction. People will forget the one-time performance. They'll forget the one-time speech, but they'll never forget the life that was built on daily discipline. Consistency is not glamorous. It's not always exciting, but it's what builds everything that lasts. And if you want a legacy that lives beyond you, you have to start your day with God. Not once, not sometimes, but every single day. That's how legacies are made. Victory belongs to the prepared. Winning doesn't happen by accident. Success doesn't just fall into your lap. Every victory you've ever seen was the result of preparation. The people who succeed aren't lucky. They're ready. They've put in the work. They've studied. They've sacrificed. They've built themselves for the moment long before it arrived. Preparation is the hidden grind that nobody talks about. It's the hours before the spotlight. It's the work before the applause, and the same is true spiritually. If you want to win in life, you can't wait until the battle starts to prepare. You have to prepare before it arrives. Starting your day with God is the ultimate preparation. It's the training ground for your spirit. It's the mental warm-up. It's the fuel that gets you ready for the fight before the fight begins. Too many people walk into the day unprepared, and then they wonder why they get crushed by the pressure. If you haven't prepared spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, you're walking into the game with no strategy, no energy, no foundation. But when you begin with God, you've already built your playbook. You've already studied your opponent. You've already put yourself in position to win. Preparation doesn't guarantee you won't face challenges, but it guarantees you'll be ready for them, and the truth is, victory doesn't belong to the strongest or the fastest. It belongs to the most prepared. When you wake up and put God first, you're already preparing yourself for the unexpected. You're already ready for the battle you didn't see coming. Preparation is a choice. You either make it or you regret it, and every single morning is a new chance to prepare, to step into the day ready, sharp, and unshakable. Victory doesn't belong to chance. It belongs to the prepared. End strong because you started right. The way you finish is determined by the way you begin. If you stumble at the start, you'll spend the whole game trying to recover. But if you start right, you give yourself the strength to end strong. Starting with God is the difference between running out of steam and crossing the finish line with power. Life is not about how you feel in the first quarter. It's about whether you have the energy, focus, and strength to keep going when the pressure is highest. And the truth is, the people who start weak usually end weaker. Because the foundation wasn't set, the fuel wasn't there, the mindset wasn't sharp. But when you start with God, you carry His strength with you all the way to the end. You don't just have a strong morning, you have a strong day. You don't just survive the challenges, you overcome them. Finishing strong is about endurance, and endurance doesn't just appear, it's built from the start. The greatest victories are often decided in the last moments. And if you've prepared yourself by starting right, you'll still have the energy to push through when others give up. That's what makes the difference, not just talent, not just desire, but the ability to stay locked in until the very end. When you start with God, you've already secured the strength to endure, the clarity to stay focused, and the resilience to keep going no matter what. That's why it matters how you begin. That's why the first moments of your day are critical, because they decide the ending. Strong starts create strong finishes. Weak starts create collapse. So if you want to end strong, you must begin right. And beginning right means starting every day with God. That's the formula. That's the foundation. That's how you finish the game with victory. Start your day with God. Every single day is a new game, a new challenge, a new opportunity to rise. And how you begin determines how you finish. If you start your day distracted, unfocused, and disconnected, you'll spend the whole day trying to catch up. But if you start your day with God, you're already in control before the first whistle blows. Life isn't easy. The pressure will come, the setbacks will come, the failures will come. But when your foundation is built in the morning, when you've already chosen discipline, faith, and focus, you can endure it all. Because your strength doesn't just come from you, it comes from Him. Champions aren't made in the spotlight. They're made in the quiet, unseen hours of preparation, and every single morning is preparation. It's where your spirit gets sharpened. It's where your mindset gets locked in. It's where your purpose gets fueled. If you want a different life, start with different mornings. If you want victories that last, start with discipline that lasts. If you want to end strong, start strong. The legacy you build, the victories you win, the battles you overcome, they all begin with how you start your day. And when you start with God, you're starting with greatness. You're starting with strength. You're starting with victory already written in your favor. So tomorrow morning, when the alarm goes off and the day begins, don't waste that first move. Don't let the opponent win before you even step onto the court. Make the choice. Set the tone. Start your day with God and watch how every day, every battle, and every finish becomes stronger than you ever imagined. That's how you build consistency. That's how you conquer adversity. That's how you prepare for victory. And that's how you create a legacy that never fades. The day is waiting. The clock is ticking. The game has begun. Now start strong. Start with God and finish like a champion.